Kevin, 1-0 defeat at Alfreton Town today. I think probably the nature of that coming as late as it did must be exceptionally frustrating. There was lots of effort. There was one golden opportunity in that game, but unfortunately it's got away from you again.
Yeah, that's the fact of the matter. No lack of effort from the lads. They've worked incredibly hard today and largely nullified Alfreton's threats. You don't want to restart. They're going to keep loading the ball on you. And I think when you look at the young men we've had in there that are, stature-wise, they've got some big guys, some powerful guys in there. We've dealt with that, and to deal with it for as long as we have, and then concede in the manner that we do is disappointing. And we have to do better in those moments, and we have to stand up to that. And like I say, I'd like to think there are lots of positives about that performance, but ultimately we've lost the game, and just got to understand we need that little bit more nastiness and ruthlessness in certain areas, and seeing it through for the full period. And it's been a little bit the case for a little while now, hasn't it? Where we're not closing games out and demanding that extra little bit of one another in certain moments. Again, it's there's not a clean sheet there, and it could well have been easily today for all the endeavours and hard work. Equally, at the other end, we've got in some terrific counter-attacking moments in the second half, certainly, and really we have to be taking and working the goalkeeper in at least a couple of those moments. And when you don't, you're always on that knife edge, and that's where we've found ourselves far too many times this season.
Sure. You stayed in the game in the first half, I would say. I think it was probably more in Alfreton's favour, but you stuck in there. And then in the early to sort of mid stages of the second half, certainly, there looked to be more runners. People looked to be sort of like, creating angles, and there were some opportunities created.
As I say, I think on the counter we've got into some good areas, and there's a good moment that's gone across the box there where we haven't got it on target. And really, at this level, you've got to be taking those moments to give yourself a chance in games. And as I say, it's about the whole group, myself, my team around me, and everybody, doing it and working to those really, really high standards. And like loads of endeavour today and effort today, which is great. But we really need to show some extra little bits of quality when it comes along and the moment demands. And if we can, we will win more games. Yes, that's the frustrating part, and I can't ask any more from an effort level from lads there today. And I thought they'd worked extremely hard on Tuesday. Largely stayed in that game as well against a side that's second in the league. It was a similar case against Fylde last week. We are giving ourselves a chance in games, but it's understanding when moments, like I say, when they come along, you've got to stick them in the back of the net, and you can go on and win games. And just whether there's enough demand from each player to each player at the moment, I'm not sure. Clearly, evidence would tell you that there isn't. But yeah, you have to continue to strive for that and continue to work with players and try to improve them and get them up for Tuesday and go again.
Sure. I guess we're talking about maybe the opportunity that Montel had, and it's difficult because I guess in that moment you want the player to relax and just do what that they can do, but I guess at the same time, knowing what the stakes are, there's always that bit of anxiety, and you've almost got to get beyond that. It's difficult, isn't it? To get into that state where it just could have happened naturally.
It is. Montel will say, he doesn't get many chances. He leads the line very well for us, and again has had a really solid game. And he'll be disappointed that he hasn't taken that moment. He's come inside and worked a couple of shots, but ultimately haven't hit the target. He does lead the line well. He's strong, and we just need to find that consistency in him. And Montel could argue that he doesn't get a whole host of chances that are created for him, and he'd be right. But that's where you need to step up, and when those chances are of a premium, you need to be taking one or two of them. And as I say, he'll chew himself up over that, but he'll go again Tuesday and show the right sort of commitment to it and work really hard for us again. And you always think you've got a chance with somebody like Montel in your side, and it's, the same as several of the other lads that they are working really hard, and we just need them to just recognise how to make better use of themselves in certain moments. And if they can, then the whole thing joins up a whole lot better, and we'll give ourselves a better chance.
I know some members of your back four today are still quite youthful, or they have a number of games at this level under their belt. Were you reasonably pleased with the way they dealt with you know, a player like Matt Reid, he's a real handful, isn't he? And knows how to, you know, play the game at this level.
Yeah, very experienced. You know, real presence of a man who does use himself very well. And certainly, you know, some of our younger players, you know, whilst they don't carry the physical stature that Matt would do, need to understand how he uses himself and how he becomes effective. And you know, we knew from the outset, as you know, Billy sets up, and you know, they'll put the ball on him, and he'll put the ball in good areas, you know, and ask questions of you. And that's probably the disappointing thing, is that we've stood up to that for large parts. Joe's had to make a couple of saves and done brilliantly for us, but you expect that of a goalkeeper away from home. Yeah, and so that's why it becomes all the more galling when you concede the goal and the moment and the situation that's ended up dividing the two teams. That's why it becomes really, really disappointing. But then to be balanced with the lads in the changing room, you know, there's some really solid performances there, and it's all's not bad. But again, that like I say, that level of excellence that we need to reach to be competitive at this level needs to be improved.
Looking ahead to Tuesday now, it's Leamington, and then another home game fairly quickly after that one with Blythe. I mean, I guess they are two. We spoke on Thursday, and you certainly said in your press conference that, you know, there's no beating around the bush now. That pretty much every game you have to win now, or you know that they are all must-win games, aren't they?
Yeah, all of them are. Yeah, and they have been for a little while, Rich. It's yeah, you know, we've always had that sort of cloud hanging over us and never really relieved that. And like I say, you just you look at the story and how the season's unfolded, and you know how difficult it's been with players and not being able to get enough of your best players out there. You know, you take today against a very attritional side who do play very direct. We've argued we've got our three biggest headers in the team missing, and you need those in the group in moments like that. One, they will nullify, you know, what Alfreton do, but equally we've worked some corners there, and you know, we can become more effective in those moments. And you look at us. Obviously today it wasn't quite the case, but you know, we've been guilty of allowing teams too many headed moments and chances in restart moments, and that's, you know, something that if we improve on slightly, we'll again give ourselves a good chance of being successful. And it sounds very simple. Clearly, you need the right players in there to be going to do it and demanding of one another. But yeah, we don't stop trying, and we don't stop working hard and trying to be consistent about the whole situation. And yeah, we'll keep going.
Sure. I suppose just a quick closing word as well. Obviously, we had the news yesterday about Devon Green moving on. I mean, again, it was something you'd mentioned on Thursday that Devon had asked to leave the club, and you know the offer's coming from Oldham, and you've been able to grant that wish.
Yeah, it's, you know, disappointed to lose Devon, but you know, I want players that want to fight for the shirt and battle hard to be here and you know, be part of the bigger group. That's the sort of player we need. And you know, Devon made it clear that, you know, he didn't want to, and he felt his future lied elsewhere. And like I say, you know, that sometimes can happen. You know, we wish him well. He's a nice lad, and we wish him well, and hope his, you know, career picks up again at Oldham for him. But you know, I've got to have players and people in that group that you know, want to sweat blood out there for us to be successful and really go and find it on a consistent basis. And that's my job as a manager, to identify and find those players and bring them to the club so that we are more robust and better able to get through games.
Kevin, really appreciate your time as always. Thanks very much.